My God, I cry out by day, but you do not answer. Also at night, but I find no rest. I absolutely believe that silence is one of the ways God works. I believe it's the hardest way to me a lot of times to not be able to hear anything from Him. But it's in that time that we seek Him and we learn so many truths, and we go a lot of different directions sometimes looking for Him. But within that, He's hiding different things in our hearts, and He is allowing us to see what we're made of, us to understand the concept of how much we really trust and how much we really do rely on Him all the way. The Lord has not despised or been disgusted with the plight of the oppressed one. He has not hidden His face from that person. The Lord heard when that oppressed person cried out to Him for help. I think in our right now society, the way that we treat God is if I don't get an answer right now, then I'm abandoned. If I don't hear from you immediately, something's wrong, I'm doing something wrong, I'm not close to you. That's just not how God operates. God, a lot of times in the waiting, we learn some of the biggest lessons that we could ever learn. So I think that a huge thing that we can practice is looking for Him while we're waiting. The way you look for God is just applying yourself, just spending quality time with Him. And I know we hear that so much, you know, spend your quiet time, make sure you do your quiet. That is so important. You can't hear it enough. Your prayer life is one of, if not the most important thing about your walk with God, communicating with Him. That's communication in any relationship is the key to keeping the relationship going. Prayer is not always about getting what we want from God. It's getting what He wants for us from Him. And sometimes that's hard because what He wants for us may not always line up with what we want for ourselves, but ultimately what He wants for us is best because He sees the big picture. So I know a lot of times I've approached Him with that whole instant gratification prayer of, I want this, so can I have it? You know, and that's not always how He works. So I've had to condition myself to praying for what He wants from me and asking Him to change me and get my heart ready for what He wants, because ultimately what He wants is best. Our ancestors trusted you. They trusted and you rescued them. They cried to you and were saved. They trusted you and were never disappointed. It's so important to kind of mark the things that God's done for you, to remember them, to write them down, so that in times where that rush comes, that rush of feelings where you're like, He's not here, it's so important for you to go back and look at times where He's done that. David could look back in his life and see so many different things, but what sticks out to me is him being a shepherd boy and God turning him into a king. You know, David could feel all these emotions and just not seem to understand what God was doing, but as he sat there on his throne, David could look at the story of him and Goliath, and I mean, he slayed a giant. A young teenage boy slayed a giant. And so as he sat there on his throne, he can remember being a shepherd boy. He can remember slaying a giant. Now he's a king. And I'm sure that helped him at times understand that, you know what, God's faithful. God is faithful. I'm sitting here on this throne. I was a shepherd, and you know what? He can continue to come through like He did before for me. Jesus identifying with my emotions has been one of the biggest breakthroughs with me, because for so long I thought that He wouldn't understand me. But knowing that He identifies with me, and that the things that I've been tempted with, He's been tempted with, and the things that I've felt that He's felt, that's huge, to have somebody who can walk right into your scenario, right into your situation. And when I'm praying to Him, and when I'm talking to Him about something that I feel like He won't understand, I have to remember that, you know what, He's felt this. He's felt this. His word says that He's felt this. He's been tempted in this. He knows exactly what I'm going through. And that right there, not feeling alone, is half the battle. Jesus,